Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, we have your Wrestle Kingdom recap, your World's End recap. Samoa Joe is your new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Dolph Ziggler is back, and so is Jinder Mahal. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast.
You motherfuckers.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Nick Crystal Nemeth. And sitting directly across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a beaver in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. And on that lovely note, I'll ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition from the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 341, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good Mark says, hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat, the Holy Trinity of BFR. Loaded fucking show, baby. Let's just dive into it. Talk to my man out west.
Out there in Portland, Oregon, we have none other than Three Beers, Zach Coleman. What's going on, Three Beers, Zach?
Beer for Westinghouse.
Oh, man. Happy to be here. Been sick all week, but feeling good now. Very, very busy week in wrestling. Thankful for the downtime of being sick to allow me to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a blessing in disguise. There was
For this episode,
a
yes.
lot going on, and sitting directly to my right, one of my best friends from high school and beyond.
What up, turd?
What's going on, Bo?
Oh, man, I love it. Hey, check it out. There's this blind guy, right? This blind guy.
Right.
He'd go for a walk every morning. He had this big stick.
Right.
He'd feel it around.
Mm.
One day he walked by this fish market.
Okay.
And he paused in front of it, and he said, woo! Good morning, kayfabe.
We are coming at you from beautiful St. Charles, Missouri. It is cold out here, but your boy took preparation a little more seriously than they did last week. Last week, Jason wasn't here, but me and Bo were pacing around here. It was fucking cold out.
No, it was cold last week. I felt bad for y'all motherfuckers.
I think tonight we're going to be okay, which we better be, because it's time to settle in, because there is a lot to get to tonight. We got 2 pay-per-views and the return of The Rock teasing the match at WrestleMania. Well, you know what? We'll get to it. Without further ado, let's get to that 3 count.
The Rock's Rock.
JCB, kick it off.
There you go. I don't even know where I want to go. I've been sitting over here debating it for 5 minutes. Keep talking, filibuster this shit. Let's just do like we normally do. We're just going to go chronologically. Let's go to World's End on Saturday night in Strong Island, New York City. Big pay-per-view. I don't even know where to fucking start.
I would start at the end, because that's the big news.
Okay, so yeah, because
we don't have to spend too much time on Hook.
True story, because there's nothing to really talk about there. Obviously, the main event being MJF versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. Samoa Joe wins by referee stoppage. MJF cannot continue the match as he goes to sleep to the coquina clutch. Then after the match, the big devil reveal with Adam Cole, Bebe being the devil, and his associates, the Kingdom in Roddy Strong, Matt Taven, and Jesus Christ, can't even think of his name. The tag team partner of Matt Taven.
Bennett.
Yes, Mike Bennett, and Wardlow being the strong, heavy guy of this 5-man team now known as the Undisputed Kingdom. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, just a second. Nonetheless, that was the reveal to end the pay-per-view. So let's just unpack it. It wasn't like we didn't think it was going to ultimately be Adam Cole, baby. A lot of different multiple suspects were thrown out there, but ultimately the guess that we all kind of came up with at multiple points did come out to pass. I guess the reveal for me wasn't exactly like, oh shit, high drama, but it so happened that now we actually know who's who, what's what. You can go back and like connect the dots or whatever the case may be to kind of fast forward up to this point. I thought MJF was very genuine in his hurts, his shock, even though as the fan, the viewing audience, we all kind of knew this was MJF went into it really well. Don't hit him, hit me instead. So you kind of had empathy for MJF on the way out. Obviously, he's going to have to go away for a little bit to get healthy and get right. That and the fact of this ending of the main event itself was, I guess, a hopeful hints that there will be a payoff somewhere down the line, that MJF is going to come back to AEW and re-sign if he hasn't already done so. The match I thought was good. I just don't think that Joe and MJF can have a match. But to me, the whole thing was post-match, who's who, what's what, how we're going to go marching forward through this. So I think the match was good. It was one that the last three matches of the show I thought were really the meat and bones of this whole show. I just thought the post-match overshadowed what happened in the match.
Zach, what did you think?
I was totally fine with the reveal. I think it makes sense that it's Adam Cole. I was fine with the match. I thought the match was very fun, pay-per-view, main event worthy, and MJF's entrance was an all-timer. That was so good. Especially the girl that talked about fucker in the back of the car. And, it was just all really good stuff. But, so the article that MJF wrote in the Players Tribune before they came out, I guess, the day of or on that Wednesday or
it was before the pay-per-view, so it was Saturday, so Wednesday or Thursday.
The days are all fucked up because it was New Year's.
Yeah, I was going to say it was Wednesday. It was before the pay-per-view because I remember reading it, and then on our thread, Zach was like, this might be a precursor for him to drop the title. I was like, yeah.
I tell you what, I might have changed my pick if I would have read that
article first. Yeah, for sure.
If I would have read the article, I absolutely would have, because I thought it was extremely well written. It was super intriguing, and it was interesting because it seemed like it was almost him sincerely asking people to buy the pay-per-view to watch him drop the title in his hometown, and it was very interesting. But match was good, reveal was good. It is interesting, when you talk about motivations, as far as logic, it's they do the reveal now after MJF lost the title of his own volition. It's Samoa Joe went over strong, choked him out. Joe's been a monster. They really built him up for this title. He's awesome. We all know he's awesome, but he had that mega run as TV champion, just laid the belt down. And he's just been running over people. The only loss that he's had is against MJF in the title match, and he's just been crushing. So really enjoyed the build. I think it's super cool to have. I don't think Joe's gonna have a crazy long reign, but to have an interim champion, not interim, what do you call him? A transitional champion is dope, and Samoa Joe gets his flowers because he is excellent. He's definitely top guy material. But yeah, for them to do the reveal, he lost it. To lose it. There was a bunch of stuff in the middle that happened that may or may not make sense. I'm not going to be too critical of it because of the Adam Cole injury. I'm sure it would have all come together a lot better if not for that. And then Jason mentioned the angle kind of outshining the title change, which, Joe just kind of walked off and then they did that angle. But it's funny because MJF in that article talked about how anything big happens in his career, there's always something that overshadows it. And there was definitely some news that overshadowed the entire pay-per-view this week. So,
part of me wonders if Tony Khan wasn't didn't ask MJF to write that because Tony Khan might have seen some of this stuff coming and said, MJF's our biggest homemade star. He probably didn't know if or how big that Jericho news was going to be, and it was kind of like, hey, how about some good press before some bad press? I don't know, like a PR move or something. Either way, unfortunately, I watched up until the Christian and Edge match that night, and then my pirated feed kind of petered out, so I had to wait till the next day. And the ending,
Dirty.
the finish of this match, or at least the result of this match, got spoiled for me. It's just I wasn't on my wrestling Twitter. I was on my regular Twitter, and it just came across. Somebody said something. I know. So that kind of took away from the enjoyment of the match. But I thought that the match was really good. They told the story. I mean, MJF is worn down. I mean, that's what he's saying, and he's been people have been coming at him for the last couple months pretty hard, and that was a big point of praise that I had for AEW. It's like, you got a champion, make the champion the star, and have a badass tournament while you're doing that. That's good television as far as I'm concerned. I was completely fine with the reveal also. I have a lot of respect for AEW sticking with Adam Cole because obviously that was a plan from the beginning. They could have called an audible because of the injury, and I think it would have been understandable. However, the thing that we were worried about the whole time with the Devil story was that it was going to be a letdown. Jungle Boy was talked about. Other people were talked about that weren't as exciting. Adam Cole, it's an Occam's razor situation. Adam Cole was who it should have been. And for my money, the history of this Devil angle will be, it went on a little too long, but at least they didn't shit the bed when they ended it. So I'm completely cool with it. What kind of gets lost in that ending, and Zach touched on it, is how fucking cool it is that Samoa Joe is our heavyweight champion. I mean, that is a guy that everybody roots for, that everybody likes, who is a top-of-the-card type dude, who is a believable, legitimate champion in a kayfabe sport. So I thought I'm couldn't have asked for anything more. If MJF is even close to as hurt as he said he was in that article, then fucking he put on a hell of a performance in that match because Joe beat the shit out of him. And he managed to F5 Joe, which was fucking cool as shit.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'm cool with Adam Cole. I like the reveal too. The lights going out is almost like a fucking meme now. AEW has the lights go out all the time. But if you're gonna have a wrestler be sitting there on the chair with all smug and looking dastardly, Adam Cole, baby, is your guy to do it. He looked pretty. When the lights came on, I was like, fuck yeah, okay, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right.
It was pretty dope. Like, they went from, about to hit him with the chair to him sitting on the chair, and his hair's all slicked back. And, just the demeanor. He's got that look on his face, no, hit me. And he's, so concerned because he's a really good baby face. Lights go out, which is very ECW, and Tony's a big ECW mark, so, he does the lights go out thing a little bit too much. But, he comes on, and then he's just this evil, ringleader, cult leader, and just the demeanor change. I was like, oh, this fucking thing.
You can talk about the believability of why would he even have to pretend that he's about to get hit, but the reason that he should pretend that he's about to get hit is because it's a fucking television show and because it's cooler.
It's also incredibly manipulative.
Facts.
That too. More so that than anything.
The gaslighter, Adam Cole.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, let's watch this motherfucker start tripping.
Oh, man, the gaslighter would be a good nickname for a wrestler.
Jesus. You and my fucking ex-wife.
Somebody trademark that shit. Somebody trademark that shit.
Enough of that shit.
My current one. They all learned a new word.
Fuck them all.
I want to jump on this Samoa Joe.
This has been Divorce Guy Corner.
Yeah, right. I want to jump on Samoa Joe for a little bit. I love the fact that he's now the champ. The fact that he's going to be the champ for a while, especially at least in my head, with the past AEW champions minus CM Punk, who obviously got hurt. Whoever's the champ stays the champ for a while. Now, how he plays this thing out, who's his first opponent, time will tell. You might have it in Hangman Page. You might have it in a couple other different venues. Swerve is throwing his name out there, whatever the case may be. But whoever it is going to have to put in some work because Samoa Joe is not going to be easy to take the title off of. So in that scenario, I echo everything that Bill just said, that it's a very, very believable heavyweight champion, and it is going to take someone of Moxie, for lack of a better term. John Moxley, Samoa Joe sounds fucking amazing. So, yeah, in that scenario, it's going to be very, very interesting to see who takes the title off of Joe and when they do it.
They should have like a tournament with like 6
heavyweight
guys in each division and have like a round robin to see who the number 1 contender is going to be.
And have like 2 different divisions where they like keep points.
You could cut like they could be like different colors.
Yeah, and like nobody's a
Red
babyface
and
or a
white.
heel.
Red and white is good. Yeah, like the red division and the white division.
Yeah, and you could like everybody just does whatever they want. It'd be great.
You motherfuckers here, boy.
When I drive. When I drive.
But yeah, to me,
Congratulations to AEW heavyweight champion and WWE commentator Samoa Joe.
that's right.
You just had to remind motherfuckers about that. My man sitting at WrestleMania with a poncho. I'm just like, dude, this don't seem right, man. I mean, he did a really good job commentating. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, he
it
was
was
awesome.
just like, this just doesn't feel right.
He was awesome.
He should be over there versus over here. So another classic Vince fumble, but God bless him. It's not like everybody's going to be perfect.
Yeah,
To be fair, I
especially
think he was
Vince.
first at the time,
Vince has a squeaky clean record.
Yeah,
you know, nobody's perfect. You know, he messed up this one thing.
Hey Bill, they can't all be first round draft picks.
No, they can't, man.
No doubt, nigga. That's some funny fucking shit. Let's just go backwards then, I guess. The main event, you had Eddie Kingston versus John Moxley for the Continental Classic final. Moxley and Eddie, I thought, just coming into this match, I was thinking to myself that they did have an angle a few months back with Renee in the middle where they were supposed to fix it. What was they were supposed? And I'm always like, okay, so when was this going to come back? I was like, maybe it's going to come back here. It's a perfect time. You know, what were they going to fix? You know, they're supposed to be fixing some shit. You know, Eddie's like, you know, I'm going to fix it, sis, blah, blah, blah. None of that shit came up, and it ultimately didn't matter. I thought this was arguably one of the best matches of the night, and it helped save in my opinion, the pay-per-view in general. The back half of this show, I thought, was the part we wanted to watch. Everything else beforehand, you could just throw that on Collision or Dynamite. Doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. Eddie Kingston winning, I thought, was a perfect way to end the Continental Classic, even though I didn't think he was going to even get to this point. Once he made it to the semifinals, I was just kind of like, okay, this is going to start to make some sense, especially when it's in Long Island. I don't even know what the fuck I was thinking. The fact that he and Moxley just stood toe-to-toe with each other, I thought that was an amazing moment where they're just trading shots, and it looked like Eddie was getting the better of Moxley, but then when you go to the ground, Moxley has that advantage. So it was a definite back and forth where you just
Brian
wasn't
Danielson,
sure.
speaking of good on commentary, Brian Danielson was tremendous on commentary in this match.
He did the Cruiserweight Classic, the very first one, so I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
He
why.
really helped tell the story.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be a surprise to anyone. I'm not saying that you were surprised, but it's just been a while since he's done it, and you know he can do it. He's just a very good pro wrestler,
Yep.
professional wrestler.
That's it.
Better choice of words.
Carney. Zach, what'd you think of it?
Awesome match. Best technical match on the card for sure. Even though there was a lot of hard hitting, this was just absolutely fantastic. And I think the chemistry between those guys is palpable. Mox doesn't lay down for a lot of guys, and I think it probably meant a lot to both of them that he did that for Eddie. And I just thought it was a perfect ending to a great tournament. And Eddie Kingston is we make fun of him a lot. But he's a total everyman. You can really, he's very easy to root for, and this was very cool. So I was very pleased with that, and the belt looks nice. I know it's just another one, but it's a cool looking belt.
The match was as good as I thought it would be. What I really appreciated about the match was the finish, because you don't see it that often, and it didn't do the thing where we weren't kicking out of finishers. Eddie caught him. and Moxley collapsed like a ton of bricks, and that was it. And that is not a finish that you see very often. And I this was not spoiled for me, even though I watched it the next day, and I was really happy with this.
Third spinning back fist, I think that should be, enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Considering everything that led up to it, I don't think that was a bad way to end it. I thought this was just the Continental Classic. I thought was a very good idea, even though it's not an original idea. The execution of it was where you did have guys that stood out. Andrade, who's probably seeming like he's not going to be around anymore, he stood out. You made Brody King look like a superstar. You just made Swerve just feel like next level at this point. His AEW match with Dave Garcia on Wednesday night was just like, we're looking at a superstar in the making right now. We're watching it unfold, and that came from the Continental Classic. So you got to give credit on that aspect. Eddie Kingston winning it, I'm good with that. It feels like the only thing I'm going to say that I have a problem with it is now looking forward. It feels like we're going to have Eddie defending 3 separate titles, and for me, and I'll just speak for myself, that wasn't what I was expecting.
That's what they're doing?
No, he's just carrying 3 belts because that's what the Triple Crown is. It's all one.
Okay, so I guess
he's not defending one and leaving other 2 out.
Okay, so
not at all.
Okay,
no.
So
right. Old Japan, it was always 3 belts.
Oh, shit. Are you done, motherfucker, or did you just cut off?
I guess I just cut out. No,
Okay.
I just said,
he just completely dropped off.
I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, I'm looking at Bill. Bill's looking at me like.
We're all looking at each other like dogs that haven't been adopted yet.
Nigga, you see
so
your
funny.
boy left
I was
today.
Checking the settings. I was checking the settings on my phone. I was pressing buttons. I'm like, did I drop audio?
That's usually the part where I'm supposed to save it, like as the host and as the quarterback or anything. But right there, I just want to see how long it lasts. Where nobody said anything.
Now, I'm going to say something.
That's by far the longest amount of dead air we've ever had in this fucking podcast. That's for
great.
Sure.
So what were you saying about All Japan?
You were saying All Japan was always 3 belts.
Yeah, that's it. I wasn't going to expound. But, yeah, whenever the All Japan Triple Crown, it was, I forget all of the different belts that they, connected into the Triple Crown, but it was 3 titles, 3 belts that were then made into the Triple Crown, but the champion always carried 3. There is just an homage.
Yeah. Jason.
Working backwards, Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland in a no DQ match for the TNT title. I guess we have to kind of go backwards even more so to kind of set this up. Killswitch wins the Battle Royal on the 0 hour to become the next contender. Well, I shouldn't say next contender. He can challenge for the TNT title at any given point, basically a walking contract to cash in at any given point. Think Money in the Bank. When I was watching it, and I'm like, okay.
Money in the Bankosaurus.
Yeah, right. I'm sitting there like, well, okay, so how are we going to do this? Because Tony doesn't do things just to do it. It's going to happen, and now he's just told you it's going to happen tonight. So I'm like, okay, how the fuck we going to play this shit out? I thought this was one of the best matches. This, to me, got me back into the pay-per-view itself. I watched it like Bill did in 2 parts. I stopped right at the Abaddon Julia Hart match because at that point I was just frustrated, and I felt like I just needed to just stop because otherwise I was going to go into the next match in a bad mood.
You turned off the pay-per-view because you were frustrated?
The front part of this pay-per-view was not very good.
That is. I would never.
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that before.
That's odd.
Did you go take a shower?
No, I went to bed.
Did you smoke a cigarette?
Yeah, of course.
You went to bed without knowing the ending?
Yes.
Because you got frustrated with it?
I was when I got home, it was.
And Brock Lesnar was not wrestling?
It was no. It was 12:30 right when I started. So I watched the 0 hour. So that's an hour. So then this is now 2 hours in, we're like 3:30. And I'm like, dude, now I'm getting pissed because I'm like, I don't even know what's next. But now I'm at that point where I'm done. I'm tired. My eyes are getting heavy. And what I've seen so far made me mad because I watched that over watching Stardom. So, yeah, at that point, I was like, let's just stop because now you're going to go into this the rest of the way not right. So just stop.
So did you like Christian and Edge?
It brought me back for sure.
Yeah.
This was the one of the, like I said, these last 3 matches saved this whole shit.
I agree 100%. Zach, go ahead.
The ending overbooked as fucked because now
you dusty finish, right?
No, that's a Tony Khan finish. Stop. That's what Tony Khan does.
It's kind of a dusty finish where a guy wins but he doesn't walk out with it.
That's a Tony Khan finish.
Zach,
especially when Luchasaurus had to cough it up, man, that's a Tony Khan finish. I wish Dusty would.
I didn't know dinosaurs cough.
What'd you think of it, Zach?
This was WWE Match of the Year. This was a WWE match. It was a WWE match. It was a WWE finish. Like, I loved it.
What?
Yeah,
I loved it too.
I loved the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought it was good from front to back.
I'm sitting there watching the post match. Really? Like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, he's going to give this fool this contract. Unbelievable.
I mean, this match. I mean, to Zach's point, this match and the last angle of the show, WWE pay-per-view of the year type shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It really was. I mean, that's sports entertainery. Really.
It smells like a beefer.
The fact that they were chanting for tables the whole time, and then they bring out the tables, and then the crowd's chanting for fire, and I was like legitimately pissed at the crowd. I'm like, these fucking marks. I'm like, really? I'm like, these guys are like 50 years old, and you're chanting for fire, and then they just pull fire out?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God. That's like mark out moment of the year.
Not one, but 2 table lighting moments. Like, they had to light the table twice.
Okay, y'all motherfuckers don't know what you're doing. This is how you put the table on fire.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, dude, Moxley already wrestled. Why are we doing this again?
I thought that this was really great, and I was not pissed off at the overbooking of it. I like Edge getting screwed again. Like we talked about last week, that title seems a little beneath Edge. He looked weird. I thought he looked weird holding it. I was a big fan of all of this, including Luchasaurus teasing that he's going to turn on Christian and then not turning on Christian, giving in once again.
Fuck you! I'm like, just yack this motherfucker in the mouth. Just do it. I don't even care what happens after that point. I guess it was for me. It
is the patriarchy, and Luchasaurus' dad did die from a meteor strike.
Okay. And I'm here to empathize.
And his arms are short too. His arms are short, so he can't hold that title up real too high.
I'm here to empathize with all that shit. The mental part of it, the physical aspect where you can't hold the title. I get that. I get it. Damn, man. This wasn't the time to be doing no Tony shit. Okay, just let Christian win. Okay, ultimately, that's where we end up going back to. You already had the fact that he fucked over, he threw Luchasaurus underneath the bus before he renamed him Kill Switch, so you already had that tension. This was just Tony being Tony. Okay, he wanted to do it because it felt like a good-ass idea to do it. Was it entertaining? Yeah, because obviously I'm still kind of animated about it because then it happened today on Wednesday night.
So you didn't like this?
I loved the match. This was the match where I was like, okay, I'm good with watching whatever happens next. The finish, the post-match, nah. That was some Tony Khan overbooking 101.
I'll tell you what, if the idea was to... Go ahead, Zach.
I just don't know how Christian just winning would make it better. This was so much better than like Christian just winning. It was so much. it was so much more in character.
I'm not saying that it would have made it better, but to me, it's just we're back to square one. The only difference is that we threw this Luchasaurus kill switch angle at the end to get people like all up in arms. Outside of that, nothing changed.
Edge's new finisher should be lighting a table on fire and then throwing somebody over top of it, like they're fucking Evel Knievel.
And then Chris Pratt shows up with a bunch of velociraptors, and they surround everybody.
Like that should be his finisher, is just tossing somebody over a table, because that's basically what he did the Nick Wayne.
Yeah, I was about to say he saved that.
Probably
couldn't
bastard. Believe he only weighed 85 pounds.
I mean, he threw him. I was just like, okay, all right. But that kind of sucks because you want him to go through. I don't want him to go through the table, but I'm expecting him, better choice to words, to go through the table. But he flung that dude. He just caught the little tail end of that shit. He sold it, but he just caught the tail end of that fucking table.
He thought he finished his McDonald's meal at that. He's like, oh, you ate all 6 big nuggets? You're heavy enough.
What else?
That's amazingly funny. Still going ass backwards. Julia Hart retains the TBS title over Abaddon. This was not very good. Let's just call it for what it is. The moonsault at the end to finish the match was just the cherry on top of just not a match that I personally wanted to invest in. The fans chanting "This is spooky" wasn't necessarily helping the fact for me personally. Where
it was the only reaction they had.
Okay, and that's kind of all I need to know.
Nobody ever bought into Abaddon.
No, not
match.
at all. And
in fact, it was one of my 5 Stone Cold Lead Pipe locks.
I did hear that. Now I was just going to ask. So. We just throwing that shit out there? What the fuck? I'm like, wait a minute, man.
If you're down by 15.
Gotta say you throw it out there. I'm like, dude, how many is this?
I will say for the predictions, this might be the first time ever, but we all had the exact same predictions, and we were all almost perfect, except for we all picked MJF. If we would have picked Samoa Joe, all 3 of us would have been perfect, which certainly would have been the first time.
Yeah.
Zach, any thoughts on this?
Oh, no. It was just the worst match of the night. That's fine. Leave it at that. There's plenty of other stuff to talk about.
Jason.
I got a nominee for the worst match of the night, and it's coming up. 8-man tag, Sting, Darby, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara versus Hobbs, Takeshita, Big Bill, and Ricky Starks. So, obviously, coming in, we had a major angle, I wouldn't say angle, but story of Chris Jericho allegedly sexually harassing Kylie Ray. I was a little surprised when Jericho first came out that he didn't get harassed right away, but once this match started and the match was not very good, it started to get clunky at parts. And especially when Chris Jericho was in the match and it started to get clunky, I thought that's when the fans started to get restless and you started to get Kylie Ray chants, NDA chants. Once again, this match, the build to it was hurt for the fact that Kenny Omega had to be taken out of it. And at least this is just for me, I'm speaking for myself. When Kenny Omega is taken out and you put Sammy Guevara in, it's kind of like, okay, so why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense.
What was the point of the match?
Okay. Ultimately, yes. And then when the match started to go left, that's when the fans were like, oh, fuck this. I'm not saying they took it over, but they started to really let Chris Jericho know that of how they felt about him. The double submission at the end was it was a really hard match to watch. And that's why, as bad as Abaddon and Julia Hart was, this was worse. You got 8 motherfuckers over there just trying to do work, and nobody could get it done. It was bad. It was a car wreck with a train coming on top of it. Horrible. Worst match of the night for me.
I'm getting the drop of train coming on top of it.
I was just going to say, it sounds like somebody with like a Transformers fetish.
As a big-ass kid, you just...
How do you know that, Zach?
Zach, what'd you think about this match?
Every time I come, I say, Autobots roll out.
And then cry.
Fuck Melo, don't miss. Zach, don't miss.
Yeah, the match was a mess, and I think it was a mess because of the fans, kind of turning on the match. And so, I think those guys just really didn't know what to do, and it led to them being out of sync. I mean, Jericho was getting booed when he came out. You could see on his face. He was trying to, keep a smile going. But some people were singing the song. A lot of people were booing him. And then there was those audible chants. Dude, that whole thing is, completely a microcosm of, how terrible the internet is. It was just, there's been no actual accusations. There's been no actual news story. It's just a bunch of people jumping into conclusions because someone, commented on a Twitter thread. And, I mean, I'm not saying the dude's guilty or not guilty, but, dude, there's actually not actually been an investigation, but everybody is so ready to throw this dude under the bus. And, I mean, last week, everybody loved him. It's just so crazy how the world is. But, yeah, he was getting booed. And then it just threw everybody off. He was on the babyface side, and they were booing all of his offense, and they were cheering the heels whenever they were getting offense on him.
Sammy Guevara was the same way, too.
Yeah. And, I mean, they should have at least finish because they have them winning, and that's just – it seems like they're still leading into them having a match with Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And I just would not do that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, regardless of what happened or didn't happen, Jericho being off for a couple months just to let things cool off and they can figure some stuff out. How can we miss you if you ain't gone, dude? He's there every week. There's so many guys. Just have him take a step back.
Yeah, I'm still not even sure what the story is. I read a little article about it or something, and I was like, okay, I guess I get this, but I just haven't invested that much time into thinking about it because nothing seems like Zach said, there's no accusations. That's no excuse though. This match sucked.
Preach.
What was next?
Speaking of this match sucked, I shouldn't say this match sucked, but it was definitely not the match that I expected. Dustin Rhodes versus Swerve Strickland. Keith Lee being pulled for this match for medical reasons. I'm assuming it is for a non-kayfabe reason. They were announcing Keith Lee all the way up until the day of the show when I was watching the 0 hour and then finding out Keith Lee wasn't on and Dustin Rhodes was taking his place. I can't lie. I did laugh out loud audibly to the point of where I was on the floor for 30 seconds trying to catch my breath because that just feels like Keith Lee in a nutshell when it comes to AEW. You get it to a certain point and then something happens, whether it's bad booking, poor health, whatever the case may be. I think we've seen the best days of Keith Lee in AEW, but neither here nor there. Swerve basically comes out, destroys Dustin Rhodes before the match, stomps on his leg with a center block as well. Dustin tries to fight the good babyface fight, but ultimately succumbs to Swerve. I see a lot of people said that this should have went shorter. It should have been a squash. I'm fine with what this was, why it was. Swerve showing a nasty, vicious side ain't a bad thing, especially if he's going to be the one to take the title off of Samoa Joe. You're going to have to be that dude to get that done. So ultimately, this worked for me. I didn't think you necessarily needed on this pay-per-view. You could have just Swerve could have had the night off as far as I'm concerned. You don't want to do that, but I don't necessarily want to see this either. So not the match I wanted to see, but it got got it done. Ultimately, what I think the goal was is just to make Swerve look like a more of a vicious, evil heel of a character, even though fans just love the shit out of him. Obviously, not too.
What you think, Zach?
Yeah, the beginning where, you did the center block with the ankle. I feel like maybe that's what they were going to do with Keith Lee because he was working through an injury, and maybe that's how they were going to sell him, just not being very agile, comparatively. But without that, it's not a match, and I would have been fine with that, and maybe even better, because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But Swerve getting the win was great. I loved Swerve in the post conference where, like, you know, they asked him about, they kept, a lot of the reporters are being kind of annoying and kind of using him there to kind of ask questions to kind of get information about Keith Lee. And they kept referring to Keith Lee, and he's just like, dude, he's like, Keith Lee's got a lot to do to catch up to me. Like, I'm not worried about Keith Lee. He's like, he's behind me. I was like, damn, but that's accurate. Like, he's like, Dustin Rhodes is a waste of my time tonight. I was like, oh my God. He's like, my focus on the AEW title, and like, he came off like such a star. And yeah, absolutely. But you know, get him a win, but it just seemed like it took too long to get there when the match, the pay-per-view already had a lot going on. So.
Couldn't agree more. I was surprised that we even went through this, but neither here nor there. I'll let Bill discuss this when he gets back here in a second, but we can move on to the AEW women's title match, Toni Storm versus Riho. Toni Storm retains. Not much I could say on this either. Riho, I thought, did a good job to at least make it feel like it was possible that Toni Storm was going to drop the title, but if I would have thrown a Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week on this card, this or Julia Hart would have been either or a very good way to make sure I didn't drop any points. It's just Tony's time right now, and I hate to even say it like that, but I didn't see any reason to have her drop the title to Riho. Riho, you know, is an acceptable opponent, first AEW Women's Champion. So in that scenario, she does have some sort of pedigree to be in this match. Obviously, winning a match to get in there doesn't hurt either, but nothing special here. It was fine. Right person went over. Not much for me to be saying about it. You got anything on it?
Yeah, I think Toni Storm's character is great. It's over. And the only bummer about it is she's a heel. And so she's facing baby faces. And Riho usually does a great job of the crowd getting behind her. Like, she's usually, that's like the best part of her matches is she's small, she's trying to overcome adversity, right, and the crowd really gets behind her. Not really that much in this one. They're like, you know, chanting, you know, for Toni Storm, who's the heel and who's the champion. So it really kind of threw the psychology of the match off. And I think either you just flip her face or, you know, I don't say take the belt off of her because she is the most entertaining thing right now. So just flip her face.
Toni Storm?
I don't know how you do that. Yeah. I don't know how you do that. Like, I mean, people turn all the time, but she's just a very likable character. The fans really like her and they want to get behind her. So she can still be that flippant and like she can be disregard everybody around her and stuff. But like, just have her be like a babyface star instead of a heel, and have her face heels, and then the psychology of the matches won't suffer.
So someone would have to turn on Toni Storm. Obviously, Mariah May is the closest person to there. So let's just play devil's advocate. Would a Mariah May heel turn help Toni Storm in that scenario?
Oh, totally. And plus, like, I think Mariah May as a heel is so good. We got a little taste of that on Wednesday. Whenever her and Deonna Purrazzo came out, and she was like, "I'm not a messenger. You can tell her yourself, bitch."
Shots fired. You go fucked up now.
So, I think that's perfect. You know, like, she's tired.
You know you done fucked up, right?
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I think I like the fact that Mariah May is next to Toni. Ultimately, I think that she will turn on Toni. It's just a matter of when and where. I'm just not sure how that would work out ultimately, but I think it would be fine. It just, I think honestly, I agree with you just in the sense that I think fans want to cheer Toni Storm. They kind of almost need a reason to make her babyface. Mariah May turning heel on her could ultimately do that. Miro versus Andrade being next. Coming into this, I was like cautiously optimistic about this being a good match. To the better workers that I know with so much wrestling to watch. If you told me you were going to have a Miro versus Andrade match straight up, I'm like, okay, you at least for me, you got me, curious about how this was going to happen. I thought this was a really good match. Nice back and forth. The ending, once again, this should have been a foreshadow of things to come. The end was where you kind of lost me on this, because for me, not knowing Andrade was possibly leaving and him being, I guess, one of the handful of stars of the Continental Classic, when I see CJ Perry turn on him, it kind of threw me off a little bit, and at least storyline-wise, it doesn't make sense. So now, well, obviously it doesn't make sense because, CJ's turned on him, but, why Andrade? Why are we focusing on him? Why are you seeking him out versus someone else? Or, why was Andrade target? I don't know. It just right then, it was like, this is happening? And then the next thing you know, obviously, Miro takes advantage to win the match. Ultimately, if Andrade's on the way back to WWE, that's fine. I get it. Charlotte's there. If they're still together, it makes sense. Plus, I think, Triple H likes Andrade. And if that's the case, Andrade would be used in a much more of a utilized way versus his stops off and on pushes in AEW. To me, I thought this was a good match. Just once again, I guess Tony did the best he could with the situation given to him. If Andrade's leaving, he can't win. So how do we make this work? CJ Perry turns on him. So in that scenario, it's not the worst thing in the world. I just thought it just caught me off guard. Then coming to find out after the fact that Andrade was going to leave the company, now it made a little more sense. That's just me. Two Beer, what you got?
Yeah, Andrade leaving, that he would lose here. It doesn't make sense that they made him look so good in the tournament, because he did look really good in the tournament. And it also, they kind of protected him by having CJ turn on him when they could have just had Miro beat him. It also kind of complicates the storyline with CJ and Miro. I'm like, so are they actually together now? Or is she going to, trot out, another dude? And
that story does not make any sense.
It never has. It never has. They're, happily married. It's one thing, suspension. We're always suspending disbelief, but, I don't know, just put them together. Doesn't have to be that complicated.
I got to say that this match was underwhelming for me. I don't know what you guys thought of it. I think I missed the beginning of the conversation, but I don't know. It's like they didn't mesh well or something. I don't know. This match was weird to me, and it wasn't nearly as good as we've seen either of them have.
I can't say I ultimately disagree. I was into the match just because, for me, it was it's two guys I like personally, and I was always curious to see what would happen if you ultimately got them in the AEW ring. So, I was genuinely invested into it until the CJ Perry portion of it, where I'm not blaming her. It's just kind of like, what do you do ultimately? So that's one way you could go about it. Zach's way, where you just have him beat Andrade flat out. That's the way I would have went, but that's just me. Miro won, so ultimately they got it right. It's just how we got there. It could be a bone of contention if you want to make it so.
All right. And anything else to talk about?
Curtain jerker after that, not unless you want to talk about Swerve, Dustin, Miro, or Riho, Tony Storm.
I thought that Swerve should have gone over quicker. I don't think that should have been a 10-minute match. Swerve is on the way up. Dustin is there to take the loss. Everybody knows it. Just have it be 4 minutes. There's no reason to have those guys go 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did I miss? Did you guys love it?
No, I nope. Said that basically, there's people that said it should have been a squash. And I get that. But for me, I understand why they kind of drug this out.
I don't know how long it was going to take Swerve to beat Viscera. I mean, Keith Lee. But it was probably going to be about 9 or 10 minutes.
Ooh-wee. You ain't shit. Oh, my God. Keith Lee just trying to eat a meal in peace. What's this BFR doing in my cereal bowl? Shrapnel
I'm just
everywhere.
having a little fun.
God damn.
Yeah.
He's eating his microwave meal right now, stirring up his mashed potatoes, and just catching shots.
Bill's like Keith Lee needs to go back to working quality assurance for Little Debbie.
God damn.
Hey.
Everybody's over here just taking Keith Lee shots. You next, you want to go next. So I don't care. Somebody dunk on Keith Lee.
Anyway, what was the curtain jerker? Hook Yuta?
No.
Yeah, we're
And this is where I should have known something was going left. Curtain jerker was actually Jay White, Roosh, Brody King, and Jay Lethal versus Mark Briscoe, Daniel Garcia, Claudio Castagnoli, and Bryan Danielson. So basically, they got everybody else that was not in the Continental
That's
Classic
fucking weird.
was just thrown into a match. And I'm sitting there looking at this shit like, okay, what the fuck? A, what the fuck is this? B, how are you trying to make these guys get along with these guys? These guys don't even like each other. What the fuck is this?
Tony Khan's like, he knows the biggest criticism is that the pay-per-views are too long. He's
So
like, guess what? It's like when people yelled at Tarantino about using the N-word too much, and he came out with Django.
Yeah, right?
Like, watch this.
Hold my beer. Like, Jesus Christ.
Tony Khan's like, I'm going to make this shit even longer.
I'm like, dude, and I'm sitting there watching it. I want to get into
Excalibur's
it.
calling it a dream match and shit.
Dude, stop. Motherfucker, just stop. They just need to stop throwing that
All right.
dream match around. It was just, this was the weirdest curtain jerker, and all I kept thinking in my head is, Zach's going to love this. Zach's going to love this.
Zach, did you love it?
Oh, the match is awesome. Like, I thought it was a good use of those guys because they haven't been in any storylines because they've been in the Continental Classic. I thought it was very New Japan-like to have like an 8-man tag to open the show, and like
It's true.
a lot of people got to shine, and Daniel Garcia got a big win. He came out looking like $1 million, and I thought a lot of people looked really good here. It was a fun match.
In New Japan's
Was it
fans.
pay-per-view worthy? But I don't know. But it was fun.
No. You know it ain't pay-per-view worthy. You ain't getting away that easy, motherfucker.
Zach, was it a party match?
Okay, stop moving. You're cutting out.
You're breaking up again. So
Not quite, but almost.
almost a party match.
Shit.
All right, so give it a grade.
Jesus. C-. I said it the night after. I'm gonna stick to it.
Yeah, I'll give it a C. What you give it, Zach?
I don't C+.
All right, we're all in the same place. Let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
Now this 2 count is going to be Zach's hottest take because he probably just finished Wrestle Kingdom. Is that right?
I did actually. Like 5 minutes before you called, was like Naito's roll call, which was perfect. He threw the microphone up in the air and the fucking wire wrapped around the top rope. That was, I one in a million there. But that will be the 2 count if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah. What you got?
All right, so we'll just start at the top because that is the biggest news story. Naito fans are doing something they don't really know how to do, and that is rejoice. Because Tetsuya Naito has won the IWGP title at Wrestle Kingdom, beating Sonata in a pretty damn good Tokyo Dome main event. There was a little kind of like a couple sloppier Destinos in the middle there, but otherwise, this match was really well wrestled, really good story. These guys are both, absolute pros. Sonata, all the criticism about him, none of them have been about the wrestling. So this match was really, really good. And Naito wins. Of course, he's getting ready to do a celebration, do his roll call, and then Evil comes out, and I was like, dude, Ghetto, oh my God, are you serious? And pretty brilliant because it got a lot of heat. Maybe more heat than like Dominic Mysterio.
This is worldwide, baby. Your boy was up this morning at like 6. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
I was like, oh no.
Yeah. But then Sonata made the save, which was brilliant. It was so beautiful. Not only did Sonata, drop the title, but then he was gracious enough to make the save for his former partner, and I loved it. I thought it was just a beautiful ending, and then Naito got to do his roll call. Really a great feel-good main event, and interestingly enough, this was just like what was it? Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know, was it 14? I think
18.
where.
Oh, you're talking about the former Wrestle Kingdom. Sorry. Yeah,
I think it was maybe Wrestle Kingdom 14 when Ghetto changed every single title, and that happened again. So this was like the 6th title change on this show. I thought it was excellent. What did you guys think?
TBC, titles be changing. Jason, what do you think about the main event?
I loved it. No, there was a couple of, dicey moments there. Obviously, with Zach, we talked about it a little bit, where Destinos were not necessarily going to happen. It was a little cringy, hold your breath type moments, but I think we just get that with Naito at this point. He's just older. You're not going to be as crisp and smooth. He's not the LeBron James of New Japan by any stretch of the imagination. That being said, Sonata did make me think for like 30 seconds that it could end up being a long night at 45-23 Gravoy, but the match I thought it was good. I thought it was a solid pay-per-view end to the match. Then obviously the evil part of it, I thought I was just about to lose my absolute shit, because now you're just going, you just can't leave it alone, could you? So of course I was working myself into a shoot at like 6:45 or 6:15 this morning. I'm just like, dude, this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm like, okay, where the fuck is LIJ at this point? And I'm looking around, they're not coming out. So for Sonata to be the one to make the save was a nice, I don't want to say parting gift, but it's a rub to Sonata in some weird sort of way. I don't know. It just, Sonata's title run has always been kind of off for whatever reason.
It's been weird.
For whatever reason.
I mean,
it's not
I know that we
personally.
praised him for making younger guys look good and giving title shots to guys that, you wouldn't figure to get title shots. But, I mean, ultimately, that's pretty weird. It was weird when they put the title on him. It's weird that it's been on them this long, and his title run has been weird.
It feels like a long transitional champion, and that's not what a transitional, at least to me, that's not what a transitional champion is. It's like a couple months. This went like 6. Neither here nor there. Naito gets back on top. Obviously, I'm ecstatic. I'm still on like 2, maybe 4. I took a nap before the pod, but just ecstatic that he's back. Now it's just, what's the story? How are we going to play Naito moving forward? Because whatever happens is going to be one of the last chapters in his professional career. So you want to do it right.
I'm not coming at this as fresh as Zach. So I finished this about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So I did have a chance. I didn't listen to any podcast about it or anything, but I did have a chance to read PW Torch's review of it. So I got a little context what the general thought is out there. Am I the only one that thought that Naito looked listen, no offense. I thought Naito looked terrible. I thought that Sonata out-wrestled him. I thought he looked slow. It looked like Sonata was doing all of the work. There was a couple times where he just wasn't selling because he just looked kind of blown up. I thought that I didn't think Naito looked good. I thought Sonata looked really good. I thought Sonata did as much as he could with what seemed to be the Naito that we get at Forbidden Door, not taking his T-shirt off during the match and just kind of going through the motions. I don't know. Like I had this as my 5th favorite match on the card.
Completely fair. There were off things. There was like a bicycle, well, not a bicycle kick, but a kick towards the end of the match where
you guys are really underselling how sloppy a couple of those Destinos were too.
No, I'm not.
They looked bad.
What did I say?
You said there were a couple sloppy moments.
No, cringy is, I think, the word I used, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll check the tape later.
Please and thank you. I'm not going to sit up here and throw the progressive flag out here, for Christ's sake.
You're like, he's not as crisp as he used to be. Brother, he looks damn right chewy. He ain't crisp.
I'm not expecting him to be. Okay, what did I say?
He ain't a shoestring fry. He's a steak fry. You know what I mean?
What I expect.
Lots of potato in the middle.
Here's the problem with that, though. You didn't build anybody else up to this. Okay? So now this is what you've got. So you got to be smart with him moving forward. You just can't have him in 6 and 8 man tags all the goddamn time. There's plenty of LIJ guys out there to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting up here and say this was match of the year by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Okay? It got us to where we ultimately wanted to go. As soon as that fucking music hit, I knew right then, I was like, okay, this feels like a victory lap.
I don't think any of these matches are going to be on our short list for match of the year at the end of 2024. But,
I agree.
Zach.
Next match, or the one that was before it, rather. Kazuchika Okada defeated Bryan Danielson. I thought this match was awesome. I thought it was timeless. They told a story of Danielson going in there wanting to break Okada's arm because he had broken his arm in their match in Forbidden Door. He worked the arm the whole time, and that also benefited the story of Okada. Is he going to be able to hit the Rainmaker if his arm is busted up? I loved that the finish came quickly, and it was not a ton of reversals. We have a lot of kind of similar New Japan main event style matches with a lot of like reversals and doing each other's finishers and stuff like that. And it was just, he worked over that arm to try to take the Rainmaker away from him. He hit him with the Rainmaker and he pinned him because he worked through the pain. Sold the arm even after the match. Absolutely great. The timing in this and just like the timing of the drop kicks. Everything in this match was like very intentional. And I think this match would, deserve like a rewatch. Even just because it's just one of those where you notice they're doing everything for a reason and everything builds into something else and the momentum shifts. I just thought it was really, really well done.
Let me ask you,
I don't know.
Let me ask you two questions with yes or no answers. Did you like this one better than their first encounter?
Yeah.
Yes.
And was this your match of the night?
Through the other matches, I would say, it's pretty tough, but down to it, I'd probably say yeah.
Jason?
It would be, at least for me, either this or the triple threat.
No spoilers. What do you think about this match?
Better than the original. Got me invested into it early. Red Shoes hugging Bryan Danielson before the match was just a moment. And, you don't see that shit all the time, if ever. So right then, I knew we might be getting something special on our hands. It wasn't an instant classic, maybe the next tick down, but this was the match that I kind of hoped we would have got in round one. But now that we're here for round two, I thought they made the shit work. The fact that you had Okada in another compromising position, he taps out before, and now he's here in this same position. It feels more impactful the second time around, where now it's like, oh, shit, this motherfucker might tap out again. this is the match I thought I was hoping we got the first time around. We got it the second time around. Everybody could walk away happy, at least wrestler-wise. Arguably the match of the night. Like I said, for me, it's either that or the triple
threat. It's my
threat.
match of the night, and I like it better than the first one. I thought this match was fucking, like, perfect, especially if it's the second out of a best-of-3 series. Like, if we're going to get a rubber match, this is going to be a perfect part 2. I loved it. Can't say much more than that. I agree with Zach, and it's the same thing we were talking about with that Eddie Kingston finish in the Moxley match, is that it was one Rainmaker, and he was down. He was done after one. Awesome.
No, I was going to say, I thought he got him with one before
Did he?
that. I thought he did. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on
There
it.
wasn't a bunch of reversals and shit like that, though. Like,
It
was
wasn't
over
a
suddenly.
typical Okada match where at the end it's just like, you reverse, he reverse. It was more so more of a war of attrition. Whose injury was going to be the one to derail them? Okada's arms, was getting worked on, and then obviously Okada went after the eye of Danielson, to the point where he ripped off the eye patch. Was just basically kicking him, like they do in over in Japan, which I think is like that and getting spat on is like the ultimate
Vicious.
disrespect.
Vicious.
in Japan, but that's just me. Go ahead, 3-Beer.
So before that, we had the three-way with David Finlay, John Moxley, and Will Ospreay. And this match ruled. It was a lot of fun. The story started with Moxley and Ospreay teaming up on Finlay for the first few minutes, and they put him through a table. And then the match really took off. Because at first, that's kind of boring. Two baby faces, ganging up on a heel. The psychology is a little bit backwards, but it did allow them to put Finlay out and have him on the outside so that they could go at it. And holy shit, this just went to show that John Moxley versus Will Ospreay is main event material. Like, we already knew that, but dude, I want to see this so bad because they were just killing it in there. And then besides that, Finley's back in. They beat up on him again for a while. Man, he really took a beating in this match, which makes sense because he ends up winning. But we had some fuckery with the War Dogs coming in. They ended up, getting kicked to the curb, but Finlay still ends up coming out on top. This match definitely achieved exactly what I thought. It went the exact way that I thought, which was Finlay was going to pin Ospreay because Ospreay's on his way out. Finlay's the new guy, Gene. He's got the new belt. And then one thing I did not expect, though, was for Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth to be sitting ringside for this match. And Finlay and Ryan, it's Ryan, right? Which one is, or Nick?
Nick.
Sorry. Nick, okay, yeah. And Nick, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler, got into an altercation, a physical altercation. So that's awesome. We're going to get...
they fought all the way into the
Japan.
back, too. They were fighting at the press conference.
I feel like 2020 BFR, like if you would have gone back into a time machine and just like you just show up in the Shock City Studios and you kick the door and you're like, Dolph Ziggler's in New Japan in 2024, and you're like, who the fuck was that guy? Like, I would be right. Yeah, this is good.
That's so great.
Jason, what do you think?
Ultimately, not a surprise. I did have to text Bill when I was listening back to the pod. I was like, oh, shit. I meant to have Finlay first as most likely to win or whatever. So, for me, not a huge surprise. I liked the match. I liked it a lot. When Ospreay did I think it was a swanton onto the War Dogs or whatever, and Copeland was stuck in the middle of the fucking table, was just like a perfect little encapsulation of just kind of how wild this match was at certain points. As a New Japan guy, I kind of feel a little just, I guess, jealous is the word I used this morning, that AEW is going to get John Moxley and Will Ospreay for the foreseeable future. I'm not sure how long Moxley's going to be. I would assume we're around for the next couple years. Obviously, Will Ospreay is going to be around for the next couple years. So to see them in an AEW feud, in any feud, I think is going to be an amazing watch. So for me to see that, and as they were wrestling in the New Japan ring, I was kind of getting mad a little bit for 30 seconds. Like I said, I used the word jealous, so I'll go with that. One of the better matches of the night. Like I said, for me, either this or the match afterwards were the two best matches of the night, Okada and Danielson. This was the only way you could do it, especially once Ospreay signed with AEW, and then you announced this match.
But
go ahead.
We were disappointed, at least I was disappointed that this was going to be a triple threat with Finlay. I understand that they got to put the belt on Finlay. I think ultimately, if you're not going to get Ospreay and Moxley one-on-one, then you have to do Ospreay and Finlay one-on-one. This match suffered for being a triple threat because the fuckery being legal because of the triple threat and it's no DQ is just kind of like, I mean, didn't you groan when the War Dog showed up? Did you groan?
A little, but I
hate to be so precious about it or so Cornette about it. This is Cornette's Corner right now. But it's like if you're having this match and it's for the global championship and it's one of your biggest matches on your biggest show of the year, then you kind of want it to be a little cleaner, right? This has been Cornette's Corner.
Fair argument, but the way the story was told, it wasn't going to be a one-on-one match. If you were going to do it, then you wouldn't have had David Finlay, come into the angle of Moxley and Ospreay. But like I said, therein lies the problem. Once Will Ospreay decided he wanted to go to AEW, you had no choice. It's just now, how do you present the story?
Two-beer?
Yeah, I don't think the match would have been bigger without Jon Moxley. I think the card would have been worse without Jon Moxley. So
yes, that's not what I'm saying. Yes, I don't want you to think that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, then just have Moxley Ospreay.
You can't, not for this title though.
You can have Finlay win it later.
Which oddly looks like, yeah. Go ahead, AEW, take the title too. You took fucking Jay White, Ospreay, and now take our title too. You got the New Japan Strong title. Knock yourselves out. Take my fucking daughter.
Is Ospreay's contract up after Wrestle Kingdom?
Apparently not.
Well, then have him go over Moxley and then have him lose it at Sakura Genesis or something.
No, damn all that. Just this is the way they should have done.
Listen, I don't have the pencil. I'm just imagining that I do.
We all do, and that's fine. I don't want to even play around with this anymore. Just let everybody can go their separate ways.
What do you think about Dolph Ziggler, a.k.a. Nick Nemeth, being in New Japan?
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel like we're burying the lead here. This is a huge fucking thing. You know what sucks, though, is that when I pulled up the pay-per-view today on New Japan website, because it had gotten over, because I was turning it on at 8:30, the headline was something about Dolph Ziggler being in New Japan, and I was like, what? But I did not know how he entered or anything, so that was still cool.
No, a definite surprise. Like I said a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, that this round of WWE releases were going to slowly but surely start to come back. This was the last place in the world. If you'd have told me a week ago that Dolph Ziggler was going to be showing up in New Japan, I'd be like, yeah, right, motherfucker.
Zach, was that spoiled for you while you were watching it?
I was pretty good about social media, but I'm trying to sell something on Facebook Marketplace, and I opened up my Facebook, and then like the very first thing, I don't really get on Facebook anymore.
Yep.
The very first thing is like a picture of like Nick Nemeth facing off against David Finlay, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like,
yeah.
What?
Yep, they got you, man. The algorithm got you.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. I mean, how many times have I said in our previous 340 podcasts that we've done, how many times have I said put Ziggler in the G1? Now it's going to happen.
No, we don't know that. Calm down.
Oh, he's in the G1. He's in the G1.
Slow down. I'm almost feeling like this is a one and done.
You don't think he's talked to Brian or to Jon Moxley about being in the G1 or Eddie Kingston? I mean, he knows those guys, right? They all know each other.
I'm not saying that.
No, they gotta make room, for Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale. Make room for
You ain't wrong.
So besides, before that, we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. El Desperado, a.k.a. Dusty, defeated Hiromu Takahashi. Did not see this coming. I was like, all right, so far every title has changed. I'm like, here's where they stop that situation. And no, this was an excellent match. We've seen these guys wrestle plenty of times. Really started out great with Desperado. Like Hiromu's like wearing this amazing huge jacket, like he always does, like jacket robe thing. It's just like huge, like so 3D billowing over the top. And Desperado could not care less about that jacket because he just dive bombs him before he could even get in the ring and does a tope.
Look what I have written next to Desperado here in my notebook. It's so funny that Zach said that. Look what it says up there at the top. Top left.
Top left. Thanks for dressing up.
Yeah, that's what I want to remember about Desperado. Thanks for dressing up, Despy.
He did. That's the first time. That's the first time he's broke out the black and red, and I can never imagine.
If he takes off that mask, he looks like a dude at Walmart. He does not look like a pro wrestler.
He's just another guy buying Fago.
Yeah.
Holy.
Man, he murdered him with a pinche loco. He had 2 in a row, but that first one, man, like I've seen Hiromu break his neck. We all have. We saw it in a match,
man.
And like I was like, oh my god, that was rough. And then he did it again.
Yeah, and I was like, oh Jesus, stop.
They both didn't look very good. This match was pretty good. I was surprised by the finish also. Jason?
Obviously not surprised because I picked Despy. I just thought Hiromu's getting to the point now where, and he said it in the press conference leading up to this, he doesn't want to wrestle Desperado anymore unless it's the main event. So, I mean, at this point, you're kind of, maxing out all that Hiromu can do as a junior heavyweight. He's won Best of the Super Juniors multiple times. He's multiple, junior heavyweight champion. What more can Hiromu do? It is time for him to move up to the heavyweight division, and then you have a whole different cast of characters for him to play with. Then if Desperado wants to do that too, fine. You could do that on the heavyweight side of things, and then if you could do it as a main event, they can meet down the line. But right now, the only reason I picked the Desperado, outside of he's a virtual fucking master in the ring, is that to me it just felt like it was time for Hiromu to move up, and this is the way to do it.
Right on.
We had before that a match that I really didn't get to pay a ton of attention to because I was working at this time. But Guerrillas of Destiny beat Fisherman, and that's when I saw Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth come out, and they're like, "Oh, they got to sit front row for this match," and I was like, they really going to bring Dolph Ziggler to New Japan to tag with his brother? And because I thought that's the angle they were going with, and they brought him out during the tag match. But that is not the angle that they're going with. Anyway, I can't really comment on the match. I did get to see the finish, but this went the way that I thought it was going to go. What did you guys think about the match?
Disjointed, not very pleasant to look at.
Because the match.
The wrong finish.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Oh.
Like, I would have kept on. I just don't see ELP and Hikuleo. I'm not a Hikuleo guy. I don't know. Just not a Hikuleo guy. Okay.
Not the words I thought was going to come out your mouth. Even though I picked Bishamon, I'm good with the finish. Bishamon's over. If there's any thoughts of having some sort of tag team division in New Japan, you need at least one of depth. You need better teams than Bishamon. You can move Bishamon over to the right, over team. Now, here you got ELP and Hikuleo. I never thought that I would like them a lot, but, they're starting to grow on me a little bit. I didn't think this was a better match than the World Tag League final, but, I mean, the World Tag League final went like 40-something minutes, like 45, something ridiculous like that. So, I mean, it would have been hard to overmatch that. Now, that being said, I do agree with Bill on the parts. There were disjointed. I just think that's kind of, it should be a little better with these four. It just kind of was what it was. For me, the right team went over because, I mean, like I said, Bishamon is over as fuck as a tag team. If you want to break them up as individuals, then that's a totally different argument and totally different discussion. But right now, I'm good with the Bishamon winning.
Can I have the last word on this match?
By all means.
Next.
Previously, Tama Tonga defeated Shingo Takagi. I was not all that hyped up for this match. They won me over. This was a really good wrestling match. Very much a style match. Hard hitting. The crowd was really into it. I think that helped it being in the Tokyo Dome and being in front of so many people. They were really hyped. Shingo just has this charisma about him besides like his hard hitting style. And I mean, Tama Tonga won. Not what I would have done or not what I was, hoping for because I'm a big Shingo fan. But maybe this is Shingo getting out of the never scene, and maybe he'll be challenging his stablemate Naito on an upcoming show.
Hey, easy, big fella. Calm down over there.
Jason, what do you think about this match?
I'm gonna need you to hush up all that LIJ dysfunction. For 13 minutes, I thought it was a banger ass match. Very curious to see Tama Tonga win, and then post match say he was going to leave New Japan to come back to America and stay here and wrestle. So ultimately, this comes to down to why did we have Tama Tonga win to begin with? So that part, curious. The match itself, I thought was really good. It was a nice little 13-minute banger. They went after it. Like Zach said, being in the Tokyo Dome didn't hurt.
There's a lot of Tama Tonga slander out there before this match. Some of it might have been said by me, so
you see me looking at you, right?
But this was the funnest match of the night. This match was a sprint from front to back, and it was two guys that really seemed motivated. Like, they went out there with the goal to set that crowd on fire, and they succeeded. Because like Zach said, the crowd was super into it. I was super into it. A bunch of really good near falls. Super fun match. Loved it.
If we hadn't seen it so many times condensely, it'd probably been at least fresher and a match that I was really more excited to see. But they won me over about halfway in. So yeah, ultimately it worked out.
Awesome.
So we had House of Torture, which was Evil in Rin Narita, defeating Kaito Kiyomiya and Shota Umino. I really liked this match until the finish, just because I shouldn't have bet against House of Torture. I should have known there'd be some fuckery, but they won with some fuckery. Yujiro distracted the ref. He got hit. Umino got hit with the pull-up bar and pinned. But Kiyomiya is a joy to watch always. Shota Umino is, man, I tell you what, out of all of those guys, like the four pillars, like the new four pillars of New Japan, which we'll talk about the other ones here in just a minute.
Who's the fourth? Uemura?
Yeah.
Okay.
Umino, like,
that's your guy.
Feels the most, feels like a superstar. He's just got that. He's really like carrying himself like a star, and he's kind of like the Tanahashi of the group. Like a young Tanahashi. But anyway, better than the usual House of Torture bullshit. But I mean, that's all I can say.
I don't know if it was better than the usual House of Torture bullshit. It was certainly some House of Torture bullshit. The highlight of the match for me was when they held Kiyomiya's legs open, and Geto did a headbutt on his balls. And what's the announcer's name? Walker
Stewart.
Walker Stewart. He goes, dick to dick action.
Boy, I fell out. I was like, man, no.
That really popped me. I was like, is that what he just said?
Yes.
So this Walker, what is it, Walker Stewart? So he's 21 years old?
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's just...
he sounds like Don Callis.
he sounds like he's in his 50s.
No,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's really, really good for being that young. Like,
and
there's going to be
being thrown into this,
thrown into it and coming after basically a legend, Kevin Kelly.
For sure.
I mean, I'm kind of proud of him. I'm like, hey man, good for you. Being 21 that's really young, man.
But and on top of it, he that's being over in Japan, where now he has to simulate.
What a hard job.
Learn the language, the whole 9 yards, and then on top of it, this is your job. So I mean,
and then he says dick to dick action.
Dude, I fell the fuck out. I literally, that was a tweet. I was like, dick to dick action. I'm fucking dead.
Oh, I didn't see you tweet it. That's
like,
great.
Man, that's amazingly funny. I was laughing my ass off. The only thing I can take away from this is that it's two guys that's mainly the center of House of Torture, and that's Evil and Ren Narita. Now, if that, like I said, if Ren Narita becomes the leader of House of Torture, ultimately, I'm down for it. Right now, this was the usual, what I expect from House of Torture, smoke and mirrors, look this way while we do something over here that way. So the names are different. The game is still the same. House of Torture bullshit. Go ahead.
Then we had a dope match. Yuya Uemura defeated Yota Tsuji. I picked Tsuji to win this, but in hindsight, man, having Uemura win this was brilliant. I feel like he really needed to win. He looks great. He looks so much better. Both of them, actually. Like, whenever they're young lions, they have, like, black trunks, short haircuts. Both these guys went on excursion. They grew their hair out super long. They both look like superstars. Man, they've got a great chemistry. We talked last week about their singles record, which is just obnoxious because they have like so many draws back and forth. And finally, after going on excursion, Uemura for the first time kind of has a leg up on Yota Tsuji. And watching this and the fact that they were so good and the crowd was so into both of them and they were so crisp with everything, I was like, we're watching like a future Wrestle Kingdom main event.
Dog. Stole my thunder.
Like 100%. And we kind of knew that watching them in the G1 whenever they were opening and like doing all those 10-minute draws. We're like, well, these guys are going to be something. Like, you can just tell. And then now you're like, oh, they're like actually going to be something soon. Like, they're on their way. Tanahashi, president, spoiler alert for here in a second, like, he did win a title tonight, but he's on his way out. Naito won a title, he's on his way out. We got to make these new group of stars, and they've got them.
Be funny if Tanahashi started booking himself, like Triple H in like 2006.
Somebody said that on Twitter. I was like, man, y'all motherfuckers ain't got no goddamn sense.
Fucking original ideas. That would be funny to me.
Somebody just beat you to it. That's all. I couldn't agree with you more, 3-Beer, honestly. And I said it, coming up to this. Uemura is the guy that is conveniently left out, and for whatever reason. I know we talk about the Three Musketeers, but this match, and I said it afterwards.
We didn't make up that phrase, though. They did.
Oh, no question about it. But they've all gotten their shine.
Put that evil on me.
Yeah, right. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. They all got their different shines in different spots. Like 2-Beer said, in this scenario, Uemura got his shine here on the biggest stage on the first singles match between the two. So now this is his shine. So basically, you have the foundation of the future of New Japan in these four guys.
Uemura was probably the right guy to go over here.
Yeah, for sure.
Were you surprised?
Yes.
I was surprised.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it happened, I was like, oh.
But no, I
pleasantly.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's a strong booking move.
Yeah, without question. Yota Tsuji is going to be a world champion.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay.
I feel about him the way that Zach feels about Shota.
Okay. Ren Narita is going to be somewhere in that gray area. Probably, somewhere down the line, he might get world champion if he stays with House of Torture. Not the point of discussion. Uemura winning, ultimately, if Yota Tsuji does come to pass and become world champion, Uemura is going to be right there. Like, what's up, motherfucker? We got beef. So ultimately it makes sense short term and long term.
It's gonna be like,
what up, turd?
We got beef.
Yeah, I think out of all of them, Tsuji will be the one to win the world title first, for sure.
Agreed.
I honestly think they should have given it to him. In hindsight, they should have given it to him whenever he wrestled Sonata.
Whoa, easy, big fella, easy.
He's heating up.
No, I mean,
Easy.
you don't think the company needs an injection of like
that would
something
be
like it?
rather than boring old Sonata. That would have been such a shot in the arm, man.
It would have been. It'd been great.
Yes, it would have been the fucking shit.
Damn.
I mean, you would be like, ooh, all right.
Oh, I might have been like,
Yo,
what the
Tsuji.
fuck?
Fuck yeah. Oh, man, he's got it.
Oh, yeah. He's got charisma. He's got talent. He's got it all. He'll be the future leader of LIJ once Naito goes away. No question about it. He'll be world champion.
He's, like, right off the cover of a fucking romance novel. Like, in a fucking, like, shampoo and conditioner ad.
I was thinking
like,
more Head and Shoulders myself.
Yeah. Anyway, we had Hiroshi Tanahashi beat Zack Sabre Jr., and this thing was an absolute sprint. These guys always have a fantastic match, and this one was no different. Very surprising finish here. That said, when you think about Tanahashi, what are the kind of matches that you want to see him in anymore? Below 15 minutes. So it kind of makes sense. ZSJ has put this title over. He's had it for a year. Full year of defenses. He was like one of the winningest champions, winningest wrestlers in New Japan last year, and he's really put this thing over. He's elevated himself and he's elevated the title, and he's ready to challenge for bigger and better things. So him, Tanahashi winning, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting, and I kind of get it, even though it was absolutely a surprise. But I mean, I could watch Zack and Tanahashi wrestle every night.
For sure.
It's kind of like whenever Tim Robinson finds the Dan Flash's store, and he's like, I found a store that sells shirts in my exact style. And that's how I feel like whenever I watch a Tanahashi and Zack match. Like, it's my exact style.
Very surprised Tanahashi goes over, honestly. But I'm not mad about it. It's time for ZSJ to be elevated. So ultimately, I echo everything that Three Beers said. To me, it's more about Zack Sabre Jr. than it is about Tanahashi. Tanahashi winning the title, that's great. Somebody that's on the way up is going to hopefully take it from Tanahashi and do bigger and better things with it. But to me, it's more about ZSJ. It's time for him to be in the main event scene, on a regular fucking basis.
He's heating up.
Versus, he did great with the World TV title. Did great with it. Like Zach said, had it for a year. But now it's just time for him to be one of the guys
I'd love for him to win the G1, man. I would love for him to win the G1.
Somewhere he and Naito are going to cross paths because, he broke Naito in the G1 was like 2 or 3 years ago. So, I mean, that's going to have to come up. So, ZSJ losing, not the end of the world, because hopefully it sets him up for a world title, at least title match, if not, a world title run.
No, and the way that he lost, it was like it was just reversal after reversal after reversal, and he finally got him.
Yeah, so, I mean, that shit's just going to happen. No problem with it. Like Zach said, this is probably the best thing.
And when he won,
for both
they
guys.
both looked surprised.
Yeah, it's like,
if they were both acting, I was like, oh, that's really good.
I'm like, God damn it.
Like, Tanahashi couldn't believe they pinned him.
Right. It was a flash pin, and it surprised me. But it wasn't like it was a pleasant surprise. It wasn't like I was mad about it, because immediately I was like, okay, now ZSJ needs to be going after Naito, or if this global heavyweight title is going to mean something. The second world title, which it shouldn't be. I was going to say it looks remarkably close to the Intercontinental Championship they used to have, but neither here nor there. You're going to have it go that way, too.
It really did. Yeah, it absolutely did. I think Zach is going to tie Goto this year, and he's going to win his third New Japan Cup coming up. And that's he's always a great tournament wrestler. He said G1, but I think he'll probably do it even sooner. He always has a good showing in the New Japan Cup. That's my early prediction.
I could totally see that happening.
Hell yeah. I got my TMDK shit for Christmas.
Yeah, I saw that, bitch.
Been rocking that TMDK shit all over the place. I wore it to work today.
Dude, come on, man. You ain't got to rub the shit in.
I'm supposed to be wearing business casual. I didn't care. I walked in there in cargo shorts and my fucking TMDK shirt.
Say something about it, punk.
Said, what's up to the CFO? Hey, Charlie.
The mighty
So
Don't
good.
Kneel.
Come find me. Come find me at my fucking desk.
I'm kidding. I wore khakis and a polo.
He even parted his fucking hair.
I'd say the first story was so much better.
All right, then we had a very fun curtain jerker. We had Catch 22, which is Francisco Akira and The Fiend beat War Dogs, which is Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney. TJP came out and
You ain't shit.
he
I got to bust one out for that.
Yes,
he had
sir.
like a Raiden outfit, and
Oh my
yeah,
God.
his mask was pretty cool. But I guess it's like a Filipino devil type thing. It was pretty neat. But anyway, they had a super fast paced match, and there was like yeah, I really
Honestly,
did.
I thought that mask looked better than the Fiend mask.
Damn.
Oh, absolutely.
Damn. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it was cool. In Akira, he had like his body painted. I was like, these guys are like dressed to win titles at Wrestle Kingdom. That's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Really dope match though. Really great curtain jerker. Right guys went over, and yeah.
Yeah, could watch these guys wrestle all day. They were fucking awesome. It was high energy. Lasted like 12 minutes. It's fucking badass.
Right team went over, especially when you had the War Dogs win a coffin match leading up to this, and then that's how you have TJP looking like the Fiend. That was a great line, by the way. No, it's fine. I like the new white titles, so that was good. Just a good way to end the Catch 22 War Dog story for now.
Then we had the Rambo, which is kind of like Royal Rumble light Japanese version, where the final four go on to New Year's Dash to challenge for the KOPW title, because that is a title that is annual and it is stripped at the end of the year every year, which is pretty unique. But the final four, what's that?
I was going to say, I wish we would have picked these in our predictions, because I definitely would have taken Yano, and I know that none of you guys would have.
Yeah, I would have totally took at least one of the four. Yeah, for sure.
Picking Yano's 10 points.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm definitely taking y'all for that shit. Fuck it.
Damn it.
Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock
Knock
of
of
the
the
Week.
week.
Yeah, Ishimori, Chase Owens, Yano, and Grado Khan are the final four.
No,
No,
it's
I'm
not
sorry.
Chase Owens, is it? It's
It's not Owens. It's Yo.
Yeah, it's Yo.
Sorry,
Coming
Chase
out with
Owens
no
was eliminated.
shoes and shit. I'm like, God damn.
But my favorite part of this was kind of like the Royal Rumble where you get the veterans in there, but Takashi Iizuka, like, he doesn't really fit in. He retired a few years ago, and he doesn't really fit into like modern like New Japan and stuff. But like he fits into this perfectly. I love that. But yeah, other than that, it was what it was. And that was Wrestle Kingdom. He got a letter grade.
I don't know who that guy is, but he popped the crowd, and everybody in the audience seemed to be really enjoying what he was doing. So it was fun for me too, even though my New Japan fandom doesn't date back.
What are we talking about?
What's his name again?
Takashi Iizuka.
Yeah, I was about to say, I do remember him being he was part of Suzuki Gun when we first started to watch the pod, the Iron Hand. I remember that because Tama Tonga was having a feud with that when him and Taichi were having a feud over who was going to have it after old boy retired. So yeah, I remember him. It's just, to me, he was always kind of a mid-card, kind of an act where, this was his gimmick. He was over the top, like monster heel, but then used this Iron Hand to use it for his fuckery to, win matches. So yeah, I totally remember him.
So letter grade for Wrestle Kingdom?
C+.
Damn. I'm gonna go with overall. Look at these again. I'm gonna go with A-.
Ooh, yeah, I'm at a round of I'm like at a B-. Maybe C+. Like, I wasn't, you're watching it for the whole card, but man, you really want that main event to hit, and this one, it just didn't for me. This Wrestle Kingdom will be remembered by me as the Danielson Okada 2 Wrestle Kingdom.
Completely fair.
And I will think about. I thought that Shingo and Tama was a shit ton of fun, and I'll probably remember it for a long time.
No, it was. It wasn't for me. A lot of the matches we've seen before, unfortunately, and the matches that we did see before, minus Shingo and Tama Tonga, and obviously Danielson and Okada, it just, they weren't enough to make it feel like this felt like a Wrestle Kingdom. And if you didn't know it was Wrestle Kingdom,
there was no Kenny Ospreay like there was last year.
It wasn't. It didn't feel like a usual Wrestle Kingdom type show. They had all the glitz, the glamour, all the great entrances. You had all that. Some of the matches, we've kind of seen it before.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, I guess graded against other Wrestle Kingdoms. That makes sense. I was just kind of thinking of it as a show, but that makes. I get that.
I'm grading it as the show. I mean, to me, it was. I wasn't mad for watching Wrestle Kingdom the way I was watching World's End.
Yeah, that's fair, and I am grading it against other Wrestle Kingdoms. I'm not grading it against World's End. If I'm grading it against
World's End,
if I'm grading against World's End, it was an A-. I mean, really. World's End was just okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
So, as many of you listeners know, sometimes we can get long-winded and we go through every single segment of every single show, but on a week like this, I would be happy to, but there really is just one. Well, we didn't have SmackDown at all. No. And NXT, the main event got canceled for non-kayfabe reasons between Dragunov and Trick Williams, which looked like a pretty fun main event, but they made up for it with Grayson Waller. But they were announcing all night that there was a former WWE champion that was going to make his return. I didn't know any of the rumors. I didn't know that Triple H had announced it. I just thought it was some bullshit. And when Jinder Mahal came out,
I laughed my ass off. I'm like, yeah, got you, motherfucker. Look at you. He got you. He said World Heavyweight Champion was coming back.
I'm just going to say this. I was like, okay. And then Jinder Mahal started cutting his promo, and I was like, fuck yes. I was like, Jinder is back, man. I liked his promo. I was into it.
Yeah.
Don't hinder Jinder.
Yeah.
And
he could have been any other foreign heel saying that same shit.
Listen, because I had no idea. I had no idea there were rumors of The Rock or anything like that. When Rock's music hit, I was like, oh shit. He comes out. He does his, paint by numbers. He's going to run down the heel and get his shit in at the end.
He ran himself out with the Baywatch line. I thought that was good.
When at the end he drops, he says, I'm going out to eat. Should I sit at the bar? Should I sit in a booth? Or should I sit at the head of the table? And yeah, I mean, I popped. I mean, my eyebrows raised. I was like, oh, we're doing this. So, Zach, how did you feel about this? How did you see it?
It was spoiled for me, but I did watch the Hulu version, and Raw was a breath of fresh air. I don't know if it was a lack of Kevin Dunn, but there was great wrestling on the show, which I'm sure you'll get to. But did not expect The Rock. Whenever Jinder came out, they had that announcement, and I knew the announcement, and I was like, shit, that is perfect, man, because it's very meta. Triple H knew that was going to get a bad reaction, and I thought it was really fun. I'm in the same boat as you. I thought the segment was great even before The Rock came out, and I also forgot how much of a banger Jinder Mahal's entrance music is.
Yeah, Jinder Mahal's pretty cool, dude.
Surprisingly, but yeah, the segment was really fun. It was kind of long. I feel like Rock does a lot of the drink it in and take his time because he can do whatever the hell he wants. And so all of his shit seems like it just runs a little longer than it needs to. He was also pretty blown up for just doing an elbow drop.
No fucking doubt, man. He really was. It's like, dude, you got to get in the ring shape.
Yeah. exactly. But those were my takeaways.
Obviously, Rock coming back just, pops the crowd. It's not a knock against gender per se. I thought he did a good job. Boy, if you don't sit your ass back, I'll say you ain't about to jump nobody. Slow down. He did a good job. What he said was paint by numbers, like you said about The Rock. No different than when The Rock came out, ran down gender, got everybody hyped around him, blah, 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 people's champ. Okay, got it. Obviously, what he said at the end is the biggest deal of it all. So where is this going to happen? How does this affect Cody Rhodes?
I'll tell you when and where it's going to happen.
Okay, Mr. Journalist, shit.
It's going to
earn your
happen
money
at WrestleMania.
Really?
All these people talking about it happening in Perth is like, what are you guys talking about? They are not going to bring The Rock back to have him main event Elimination Chamber in Perth. He's going to main event against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in Philadelphia, where the last time they were in the ring together, Roman had just won the Royal Rumble with The Rock's help, and The Rock held his arm up, and the place booed the fuck out of him.
I was like, God damn.
They're not going to Perth. They're wrestling at WrestleMania. It's a done deal. That's what I'm saying. Do you guys think it might go another way?
No, I figured it was for WrestleMania. I think the logical thing is for Rock and Roman to be night one main event, and then Cody gets the winner because Rock just walks into a main event. Cody's got to earn it, the Elimination Chamber. Punk's going to win the Rumble, and then he's still not going to main event a WrestleMania because that'd be fucking hilarious.
God damn.
And that's how I would do it. And then Cody finishes the story. You still get Rock on WrestleMania. Roman can wrestle 2 nights in a row for the first time in 6 years.
I'm sorry. I do not think they're going to do that. I think that is just – I think that Cody is not going to finish the story at WrestleMania this year. I think that ship has sailed. They are not going to have Rock and Roman main event night 1. That's a night 2 main event. That is the main event. That's what I think. I think that I think that Cody's going to get Orton. I think it's going to be Cody Orton at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be Punk and Seth, and I think it's Roman and The Rock. And I think that shit is a done deal.
Man, that's not very adrenaline in my soul of you.
I'm like, damn, Cody is over here getting the strongest of strong boots from Bill. That's wild as hell.
I'm not saying that's what I want to happen. I just think if you have The Rock, the fucking Rock, he is going to main event the second night. You are going to try to get people to watch both nights. And you have a better chance. People don't want to see The Rock on Saturday night because they might not tune in on Sunday. They might tune in on Saturday just to see if he shows up or just to see vignettes about him or whatever.
I will say the fact that Zach saying that CM Punk's not going to, in his scenario, CM Punk not main eventing WrestleMania is extremely ironic because it was The Rock that stopped the Summer of Punk title reign, and now it'd be The
Punk
Rock
was pissed about it.
And now it'd be The Rock coming back.
They should have corny motherfucker Punk win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
God damn.
or they can have him lose to a returning Gronkowski's buddy. What the fuck's his name?
I'm sorry. What were we
Gronkowski's buddy, the wrestler.
Mojo Rawley.
Mojo Rawley. They should have Mojo Rawley return and win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal by eliminating Punk.
You ain't shit. That is fucking funny as fuck. You foul motherfucker. God damn.
That's what they should do with Punk.
Honestly, I think they're going to do Rock Roman, but I think ultimately you're going to get Roman Cody at WrestleMania.
Rock Roman is a massive,
without question, question.
I never even allowed myself to believe that was going to happen. I mean, that is a huge main event.
I'm still not thinking I'm still like, I got to see this announcement first before I
It's the biggest main event possible on Earth.
For WWE, yes.
For anything. I'm talking about box office. That is the biggest. That is fucking huge. That's bigger than if Rock came back to fight Austin again. I mean, it's Rock and Roman. It's the current guy versus the biggest fucking movie star in the world, basically.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Fucking,
Okay, so Roman's got to...
It's like Paul Newman versus Bob Backlund.
Okay, so Roman's got to win, right?
We're gonna have Roman Reigns versus John Wick.
That wouldn't be as big.
Jesus Christ almighty. So Roman's got to win in this scenario, right? Okay, so then what? So now Cody, we're going to have Cody do what now at this point? I mean,
Orton.
No, I mean, we're just...
Bing, bang, boom.
I'm
It's
talking
done.
bigger picture now. So if you're gonna pass on... not Orton, but Cody and Roman for WrestleMania, and Roman wins, he should beat The Rock.
Yeah.
So then what? So now what do you do with Cody? You've just basically spent
You figure it out later. You're going to have the biggest match possible. They're not going to do it just because Cody needs to finish the story. They don't give a fuck about that. It's a business.
They do give a fuck about that.
No,
Otherwise, you wouldn't have put all this effort into it.
Not when you're talking about the dude from Jumanji 2.
Dude, they're gonna ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Not when you're talking about a guy who was in Jungle Cruise. All right? We're talking about a big-time fucking star here. All right?
Kevin Hart's best friend.
I was trying to say,
He was in Rampage.
Name the person that was opposite
one leg.
of Rock at Jungle Cruise, since he's that big of a fucking star.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
I didn't even hear your question. I'm just saying, let's revisit
Act like
this.
my voice don't carry with a microphone, even worse in my head.
We'll revisit this at WrestleMania time and see if didn't just fucking nail it.
We'll see. We will see.
So as Zach alluded to, there was some good wrestling on this. They called it the Day One episode, headlined by McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the belt. Zach, let me ask you this. At any point, did you think Damian Priest was going to successfully cash in on this cash-in attempt?
No, he's the boy who cried, "I'm going to cash in."
God damn.
He ain't lying. What do you think of the match?
The match was great. I mean, it's just like it was a big Raw. They made it feel like a big Raw. The Day One thing, that's a cool tradition. If you can, continue that, and it's not always going to fall, obviously. But the first one of the year, really both promotions, the first big show of the year, the Raw and the Dynamite, were really, really good, and they had really good wrestling on them. So that's a trend that I would like to see continued. But Rollins McIntyre is a show that could main event there's a match that can main event any show, and I was happy to see it on TV, and really good.
You said the boy that cried cash in. God damn, you ain't shit. I didn't think it was going to happen, but the fact that they teased it in the spot that they teased it, I was definitely intrigued of what was going to happen next. I didn't expect to see Damian Priest get taken out or whatever, but that's just kind of the guy that holds the briefcase, somebody at least recent times, especially in the Austin Theory run, every time it felt like he was going to cash in, somebody stopped him. Now Damian Priest has fallen into that same booking formula or whatever you want to call it. So in that sense, I wasn't surprised. I will say that I thought that Drew McIntyre was going to win until he covered Rollins, and then the foot went into the rope or whatever. I was like, you got me, motherfucker.
Smart finish.
No, it totally, especially when Rollins got hit with the briefcase and then the Claymore. I was like, oh shit.
And it wasn't Rollins. Rollins didn't put his foot on the rope.
No,
it was the way that McIntyre pinned him.
So yeah, at that point I was just like, oh, okay, you got me. So yeah, at that point I knew Seth was going to retain, but the ride was good, the match was good, and the story being told is still, for me, Seth is retaining while Damian Priest is hovering over. Is getting a little long. We need to start to figure that out at some point because WrestleMania is starting to come around the corner. And then at that point, we'll have Money in the Bank in July. So, I mean, before you know it, we'll be talking about another Money in the Bank winner in like 6 months.
Yeah, and we had Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch. Nia Jax goes over clean at the beginning of this. Strong booking choice. What did you think, Zach?
Yeah, I thought it was probably the best Nia Jax match I've seen in a long time. They had just a good big person, little person. I would say big guy, little guy, but they're not guys. Match, and yeah, pretty surprising for her to go over clean, but makes sense, as far as a continuation of this and making her out to be a monster and all that. Just you don't see Becky lose clean all that often. She's their biggest female star, one of the biggest stars in the company. So obviously they got some plans for Nia Jax. Yeah, cool way to open the show. Or at least I don't know if that really opened the show, but first match that I saw on the Hulu version.
Jason, are they building up Nia Jax to lose to Rhea Ripley? Who's Rhea Ripley face at WrestleMania?
The winner of the Women's Royal Rumble.
Could that be Nia Jax?
It could be. I think Becky would be fine. I mean, at this point, Becky is probably on the backside of her career. What more can you do at this point? I mean, hell, she main evented WrestleMania.
Unprofessional bullshit.
Okay, which one am I getting, motherfucker? I mean, shit.
They both apply.
I don't think it's unprofessional bullshit by any stretch. What more can Becky do? Realistically, what more can she do? She did the one thing.
She just ain't that old.
But what else could she do? She main evented a WrestleMania, for Christ's sake.
Main event again?
Okay, fine. God forbid you get one, she gets a second one. That's probably not going to happen. So at that point, for me, and I mean, she's won the Royal Rumble. She's won the NXT Championship. She's won both women's championships. I mean, the tag team championships, you wanted to win that. She's done that shit too. So, I mean, at this point, you got to start moving past the Becky Lynches, and Nia Jax makes sense. It was 5 years in the making. She caught Becky clean. She won clean. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Later on in the show, we had Kofi Kingston nearly kill Giovanni Vinci. So let me ask you this, Jason. Is Kofi Kingston the dirtiest, most reckless wrestler in the WWE today?
No, Ridge Howard apparently has that one cornered.
He's cutting promos on it.
Yeah, no shit. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Y'all really leaning into this motherfucker, huh?
Yes, I broke Big E's neck. I also have a family.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, those things don't have anything to do with each other.
Right. So I don't even like that. This was just unfortunate. I like Giovanni Vinci, and I like Imperium as a team. To see this happen was definitely a little distressing.
I was just kind of being funny. I mean, Kofi Kingston's obviously not dangerous.
By no stretch of the imagination. Just
they cut it off quick, though.
Yeah, so at that point, it was weird to see it happen. And, I haven't heard anything about Giovanni Vinci. I hope he's okay. But, this is that's the problem with, well, I didn't say the problem with wrestling, the flip side of it. We get amazing moments, amazing matches, but these guys can get hurt at any given point.
Zach, did you see Kofi almost kill Giovanni Vinci?
No, I wasn't on the Hulu.
Because they had to make room for The Rock making the crowd cuss again, 100 times in a row.
That's his new gimmick.
Yeah, his new gimmick is cussing. Man, I forgot to say this when we were talking about Andrade earlier, and we were talking about Andrade going back to WWE, and I was going to say, well, they already have Judgment Day and New Day. They might as well have Andrade.
Oh, my God.
God damn.
Dude, think about his time in AEW, though. It was such a wild ride. He freaking had the whole he tried to buy Darby Allin from Sting, because he tried to human traffic Darby Allin, buy a little boy.
Yeah, some real Sound of Freedom shit.
Yeah, he did the whole the how you know, which was a total meme, how you know, and then he punched Sammy Guevara, and then he was just done. That was it. That was the whole run.
Yeah, and then he had a really good Continental Classic.
Yeah.
What did he do?
That's going to do it for us. Oh, do you guys want to talk about Ivy Nile versus Rhea Ripley, or the latest in the R-Truth Judgment Day saga?
I thought Ivy Nile had a pretty good showing against Rhea. That's all I'll really say about it. But she did better than most of Rhea's opponents lately.
She's got a good look. She's
Yeah.
like the woman version of Johnny Gargano or something.
Her, Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, Zoe Stark, to a certain degree, Shayna Baszler. All reasons, at least in my head, to have a women's mid-card title versus having women's tag team championships. That's just me.
Oh, sorry. And did you want to say anything about R-Truth?
Your
Your favorite guy?
He's a fucking gem. I mean, goddamn, when you have a segment with him and Miz, and Miz is like, we're bringing back the Undisputed Truth. Or
The Awesome Truth.
The Awesome Truth.
I totally forgot that was their name.
And I immediately popped when he said that shit. I was laughing my ass off. And Truth's like, so I'm just going to go with, basically fuck with Judgment Day. I'm just like, dude, Truth is so fucking over the top. It's amazing.
That team name is very Swerve in Our Glory.
They were better than Swerve in Our Glory. At least in my mind, Miz and R-Truth, had a nice little heel
I was
run.
thinking the other day how much shit I give Keith Lee for his tag team names, but if you think about it, it's like rated RKO,
and
Team Hell No, and Jarrus Show.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like they really don't put a whole lot of thought into those.
Let's say you giving a little too much heat to Keith Lee about that tag team name when there's others that came way before that.
You know what's a good name for a tag team is Private Party. That's going to do it for our 3 count.
2, 3. He's heating up.
All right, I didn't do that on purpose. We can go through last night's Dynamite. So it was headlined by Swerve versus Daniel Garcia. Hangman Page comes in all pissed off, but he's not pissed off at Swerve, but he decides to go after Swerve at the end, which makes sense to me. I mean, Hangman Page should not just come in and forget about the death match that he just had with Swerve Strickland. He should still be pissed off about it. So I was cool with this, and I was very cool with the match. What you think, Jason?
Obviously, I think you kind of buried the lead on that when Daniel Garcia versus Prince Nana, and a dance-off was definitely one of the highlights of the match itself.
Good point.
It's not like we didn't know that Swerve wasn't going to go over. It was just how we're going to get there. Hangman Page and Swerve bumping into each other, no problem with that. Hangman was looking for a fight, and then Swerve, like you said, was out in the ring. And we can't let the Texas Death Match results just fade away. So it was a good way to get Hangman back into the mix. And you can play that off of Swerve and Hangman if you want to go forward. I just don't. With Joe being the champion now, I don't want Swerve to face Joe right away, because anybody that faces Joe right away is probably not going to win the title. So in my head, this is a good way to keep Swerve and Joe away from each other, at least for the moment.
Zach, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that they were just kind of done, and that surprised me because it just seems like a weird way to end it. But, man, he came out with some fire, and, I mean, that feud has been money, and honestly, like, for him to go over, for Swerve to go over Hangman Page a third time, which is what I think is going to happen, would be an excellent way to catapult him to the main event even further than he already is. And that wouldn't hurt Page. I mean, Cody went over Seth 3 times in a row. Seth's World Heavyweight Champion right now, living his best life. Nobody even thinks about that.
I'll just say this. When you said that, my eyes kind of lit up just for the simple fact that I think and I said it already, I think Swerve's already there. I'm not advocating for Adam Page to win that match. If there's a third match, fuck it, let's do this shit. I don't think that Swerve needs to win that match a third time. If he does, great. But I think right now, just that Daniel Garcia match, just watching Nana getting the crowd invested, they were ready for Swerve to come down as soon as this music hit. And everything about Swerve right now is so fucking money. You don't even if you don't have to do it, I say don't even fuck with it. But if you're going to do it, I wouldn't be surprised if Hangman won. That's just me. I don't think Swerve even needs to be fucking with Hangman Page at this point. why do it if you don't have to? But if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised if Hangman won.
Trent Beretta defeats Vikingo, Brian Cage, and Brian Keith. That's his name, right? And Trent Beretta is now the #1 contender for Eddie Kingston's Triple Crown, which is essentially the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Championship. This is not what I thought was going to happen for the first challenger for what seems to be a pretty prestigious, after that tournament, and it's called the Triple Crown.
Right.
And then they're just going to have a 4-way with a really random group of 4 dudes.
Right.
And it's like, well, I guess Vikingo's going to win this?
That's what I was kind of like, this maybe? I don't know.
It just didn't – I don't know. I thought this is a pretty weak follow-up to Kingston's win. What do you think, Zach?
Tony really likes Trent Beretta. I think
he's got a funny way of showing it.
I think that they are just gonna maybe make Kingston out to be like a fighting champion, like a la Orange Cassidy. I think he's just gonna be defending that title a lot. It's gonna be prestigious, but he's just gonna defend it a lot on TV. Is kind of my presumption, but we'll see where it goes. But that's kind of what I thought.
I don't know. That's a heavyweight championship.
Okay, and I guess part of my problem with that is it just doesn't feel like those names were big enough names to come after a title like this. All the big names were in this tournament, and then the follow-up is Trent Beretta. This ain't a knock against Trent Beretta. He just hasn't been built up big enough in AEW to where now I feel like,
this is when you do Miro.
It feels a little lackluster. For all you did.
I mean, Miro's on his way up. It's not just some random win. Like, he beat Hobbs, and he just beat Andrade. So, it would make sense for him to win it, or like a Brody King. But if you're going for somebody that wasn't in the tournament, he'd be a perfect guy. Or fucking Aleister Black.
I don't know. It felt like it was a little, I'll use the word, beneath Eddie Kingston to be facing Trent Beretta after the guys that he just had to go through to get to this point.
No doubt.
That's just me.
We had a fucking banger of a match in this fucking Dynamite. Just an absolute fucking banger. And it was Takeshita versus Darby Allin.
Woo, God damn.
This match was fucking off the chain, bro. Zach, I bet you hated it.
No, absolutely love it.
He said,
it is funny because I thought it was brilliant whenever they did make Takeshita the heel, because he's somebody that is like impossible to not just love because of his match quality. So they just put him with like the most hateable person on the planet, which is Don Callis. Because man, like if he's with still babyface mode, you'd be like, why is this guy just not, in the world championship picture? Because he's so good. But he just pretty much threw Darby around. It was like whenever you're like, first you're a teenager and you got like a younger sibling or a younger cousin and you get your trampoline for the first time and you're like, all right, I'm going to give you a power bomb. They're like, I don't know. And you're like, no, I'm going to do it.
I was the power bomb-y.
Man, it's like Darby Allin invents new ways to just get beat the fuck up.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That rolling German suplex on the ramp. I was like, dude, stop this. Stop this shit immediately. You need to stop throwing this little boy around. That's how I felt. It just felt, looking at these
this
two.
This was an incredible match.
It was.
Why wasn't this could have been the main event.
It could have been a main event. I wouldn't have had a problem with that.
Darby Allin can fucking main event at Dynamite.
To me, this felt like more so of Takeshita's once again coming out party, losing to Chris Jericho over in Japan.
About time they followed up.
Losing to Chris Jericho in Japan felt like they cooled him off a little bit, and now it feels like they're trying to heat him back up. Cassidy, Takeshita, International Championship, make it happen, Captain.
Mariah May. Sorry, I'm going through these kind of quick. It's cold out here. Mariah May makes her in-ring debut. She beats in about 6 minutes. I can't remember the gal's name. It starts with
Queen
an A.
Aminata.
But that is that's secondary to what happens afterwards, which is Deonna Purrazzo, former Ring of Honor Women's Champion, I believe. Yes.
I I wasn't going to say women's champion. I was not Ring of Honor, but Impact women's champion.
Impact. Yeah, sorry. But she makes her debut on her home turf and got a big babyface reception. What you think about this, Zach?
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Deanna, but I mean, she got a good pop, and she's all elite now. We'll see, if that's a game changer, if it does anything. But she didn't come off like super strong here. I thought Mariah May looked like more of a star than she did, honestly.
I can't say I totally disagree with that. I don't think Deonna Purrazzo's strength is on the mic. It's in the ring. I'm kind of curious to see how she'll be booked, especially when you don't have a lot of women's segments to begin with, but I'm not going to go down that road just yet. If Mercedes Moné is the next one up, that's going to be a game changer for Deonna Purrazzo, because immediately she'll get pushed kind of at least not to the side, but, you're going to have to make room for Mercedes Moné. So something to be said there.
That's something to be said for AEW women's division, Jason. You got to like these developments, right?
No, because...
Do you think Toni Storm's a good champion?
I think Toni Storm is a very good champion.
Okay.
But it doesn't give me pause to where now we're going to do things differently. I mean, we've seen it's still the same, one woman segment, actually two, if you want to go with Saraya in the back with Ruby Soho. So, I mean, yeah, you're getting all this talent, but then what are you going to do with it? So, ultimately, it made sense for Deonna to come over to AEW. You could do more smaller work, indie shows. Okay, fair enough. But how she gets booked, how Mercedes gets booked, I'm going to hold out for that.
I'll say this, that Mariah May is easy to watch.
Yeah, buddy.
So we had Swerve, House of Black, Storm, Orange Cassidy versus Dante Martin, brings out Danhausen, brings out Hook, brings out Top Flight, then brings out Private Party. They've made their return, so I guess that's the end of Brother Zay.
Yeah, because they basically said, the Hardys can get some too if they want.
Is that the
some.
first time that Brother Zay has ever been mentioned on this podcast? Has his name ever been said on this podcast?
I'm going to say no. It's 341 episodes. He's probably come up at least once.
You think that he's come up?
Brother Zay has probably come up at least once.
Okay, I guarantee you
somebody on Rampage.
I guarantee you that's the first time I've ever said Brother Zay
completely
on the
fair.
podcast.
Completely fair.
Zach, any thoughts about this?
No, I mean, Private Party is, good team. So, it's about time they do, something with them. Remember whenever they were super green and Young Bucks made them look like $1 million and they put them over on early Dynamite. We're like, these guys are the future. And that was like 5 years ago.
I do remember that.
It's just a shame they have to cut off Brother Zay in the middle of this hot singles run. Jason, Adam Cole comes out at the beginning and explains himself. What you think about Adam Cole's explanation? What do you think about Bullet Club Gold coming out at the end? I mean, it makes sense. Then the Acclaim come out. They have a face-off with the Guns and Jay White. The first time that Adam Cole actually has a story to tell, and he doesn't say who's ready for story time with Adam Cole.
Baby. Yeah, totally. I was just like, dude, come on. It's the layup of layups.
I can't believe he didn't say
I'm
it.
like, what? Just say, come on. We've teed it up for you, you stupid son of a bitch. I like the explanation. It totally makes sense. It's heel mentality 101,
Oh, yeah.
If MJF, if I didn't do this before MJF, he was going to do it to me first. Check. Everybody hates MJF in the back. Check. He runs everybody down the back. Check. So, I mean, you would see why that he did what he did. Now, from that point, to me, it gets a little lazy. The name, I'm sorry, a little lazy. That's just me. Him saying that Wardlow is going to
What are they called? They're called the Undisputed Kingdom?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Swerving our glory.
Wardlow coughing up the title whenever Adam Cole is ready to come back. I'm like, okay, this is MJF and Wardlow all over again, but we just not even going to talk about that. Fair enough. It just, the explanation was good, but then the explanation is good because now it makes sense. The reveal is good because all the dominoes fall because it's Adam Cole and all the stuff around it that he's done makes sense. I just don't like the Wardlow part. This doesn't do anything for him.
Yeah, it's kind of Luchasaurus-y Christian. What do you think about everything there, Zach?
Yeah, so I was fine with Wardlow being a part of the group because he just wants MJF to suffer. But I thought that whenever Adam Cole said Wardlow was going to hand him the title, I thought that was a little much. It puts Wardlow in a weird spot. It was very heelish, but it just seemed a little much.
It's kind of like when Tony Khan said he feared for his life when CM Punk punched Jungle Boy.
You don't know? You wasn't there.
Yeah, I was cool with this. I was a little disappointed to not see Joe on the show except for the very beginning.
That's fine.
When Joe comes out.
Shit, he said all he needed to say.
Yeah, I know. I just want to see the champ. You know? Show me the champ. I want to see
Champ
who's going to fight next. I know.
I don't even think they know. Shit.
Huh?
I don't even think they know.
No, they don't know. Who do you think Joe's going to fight in his first title defense, Zach? Putting you on the spot.
I mean, the way things go, probably somebody who wins a 4-way to open Dynamite next week.
Jason, who do you think?
I laugh because it's true.
It's like brother Zay, the Butcher, Commander, and
Kip Sabian.
Kip Sabian. I guess Commander's gonna win.
Holy shit.
That's really funny. Oh, I skipped past the Christian part. Sorry. Zach, what'd you think about Christian?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's gold as always.
Unbelievable stuff. Really unbelievable stuff. Jason, did you love this segment?
Yes, I told you. He was going to get Shayna Wayne booed, and he did it. He's getting Nick Wayne booed. Did it. He's got Luchasaurus / Kill Switch as a sympathetic figure. This motherfucking Christian is doing the God's work, okay? One man carrying 3 other people. God bless that boy.
Yeah, I mean, he's making jokes about having sex with Nick Wayne's mom
in
front of Nick Wayne. Just looking at Nick Wayne saying,
"What up, turd?"
Incredible stuff. I thought that Edge and Christian, that match was really fun.
No, it was. It's just
really,
the finish. It was like, God damn it. Come on.
They really did it up.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Hey, everybody, we got some birthdays this week. Who better than Canyon?
Nobody.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Would have been 53. Chavo Sr. I know he ain't Canadian.
Yeah, I know. That's usually my out. I'm going to just go with Canadian.
I don't know. He's 74 years old. Happy birthday or R.I.P. Darby Allin is 31. Bad Luck Fale, the aforementioned. Younger than me. That's fucked up. He's 42.
I never thought of the Bad Luck Fale. We got to mention twice.
Chris Masters, 3 years younger than me.
Shut up.
41.
God damn.
Todd Grisham is 47. Ruby Riott is 33. Buff Bagwell, 53 years old.
Yes.
Grandmaster Sexay, R.I.P., would have been 52. And Tamina Snuka is 46.
Nobody meaner than Tamina.
Hey, everybody, we know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For My Family Inside.
Check.
For Tender Mahal.
Check.
For Lucha Chris.
Check.
For Murray the Murray Man Murray.
Check.
For Patriot Pat.
I ain't forgot about your Patriot Pat. Check.
Bo.
Check.
Vice Geisman. For Two Beer Zach Palmer. For
Check.
Jason Cornelius Bell.
Konnichiwa. Good to be back.
I am Bill Vagey.
Check.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Black
New Year.
Lives Matter.
Check.
Support your local weed dealers.
Check.
Support your local restaurants.
Check.
Hey, give your parents a call.
Double check.
Go Pelicans
Go Thunder.
and boo the Heels.
Boo!